Save this website to your home screen before you watch this video for easier access.
So this is just going to be part one, off-ball scoring, cutting, how to use a screen, spacing techniques, just different things like where to spot up, where to be when certain things are happening. And the players I went over is Steph, Clay, KD, Kobe, and then I did the 2014 Spurs at the end. Like at the end, that's actually honestly my favorite part, is going over the Spurs offense, and I'll probably put them in part two as well. Like just amazing spacing, like minimal ISO ball. It was perfect basketball, to be honest. I see why they won the championship that year. I think these are concepts that are just super important because you can plug yourself into any system if you can understand these concepts and execute them, like catch and shoot, efficient scoring, how to make a play as soon as you touch the ball. Like if you can do that and just know where to be and know how to move around and like know how to set screens and read screens and slip and all that kind of stuff, like you can play for anybody, and it just makes the game 10 times easier. So that's going to be the majority of this breakdown. As far as my frequency of posting, I'm going to try to do every 5 days. So like today's October 31st. Next one, I'm trying to put it out November 4th. That's my goal, to get it out November 4th or 5th. The next two videos are going to be man-to-man defense and off-ball defense. So then you can really, play basketball on both ends, on and off the ball. Like that'll make you, a complete player in a coach's eyes. And then you just put the skills on top of that, So if you have questions, go to the forum and type it in. Like I put a forum where you can just type your questions and then I'll go through them and answer them. I haven't checked it yet. If you're watching this and you're not in my Facebook chat community, then make a Facebook page if you don't have one, and then go to grandmasterhoops.com/community and just join it. And that's where I put out exclusives. Like there's pro shooting secrets in there right now. There's a jump program, like how to get your bounce up. I'll put shooting 201 in there. I need to film it one of these days. I got it written out. I'm literally looking at the script right there. Like I'll probably put some skill workouts in there at some point, so go join that community if you want to get the exclusive stuff. But other than that, man, I hope you enjoy the video. So Steph Curry is going to be the first player we go over. And I want to show you just a basic screen, right? He comes off and shoots it right there, easy money. But I want to talk about everything that goes into that. Look how relaxed he is. He's just jogging. And then at that moment, he turns it into a sprint. All right, so the relaxation, you can't give it away that you're getting a screen, right? And so then when you come off the screen, obviously, if somebody's trailing you, you want to curl in, right? Curl in this way. If you were to go under, pop out. Easy. So he curls in, and then as he's catching it, he plants his inside foot on the catch. And as soon as he catches the ball, he's also looking at the rim early. So getting ready super early and having your footwork down is going to help you get these shots off a lot easier, right? And so when he plants, it's just two steps. It's left, and then it's right. And he's immediately up into it, right? And then when you're coming off a screen that way, the way your body can move to make it a little bit easier, it's like he catches and then he turns in. And so once his right foot plants, that's when he starts going up into a shot. So once this foot plants, he's going up into a shot, right? But notice he's not 100% square to the basket. His feet are kind of pointing like over this way. And when you come off going to the inside like that, they'll always be pointed a little bit away from the basket. But if you're a right-handed player and you're curling exactly like this, you want to overturn a little bit on your shot to get balance, to square your shoulder, right? So as he goes up, he's like somewhat square to the basket. And then as he releases, his body turns so his shoulder can get square. And that's why people's foot comes out when they do this specific shot. It's so they can square their shoulder. So if you notice the landing, look how he lands. His feet are pointed this way, right? And so on that, you want to turn as you shoot it. Don't stop in your tracks and try to be square and go straight up. It's going to be a waste of time in motion. So he just goes straight up, flows into it, turns his body. Easy money. And I can't forget this part. He comes off completely ready. So once he gets here, his hands are up and his body is like semi-low or in an athletic position. He's not coming off lackadaisical or lazy. He's coming off 100% ready so he can catch and go directly into his shot. And he goes up the minute he plants. So it's right when his second foot plants. So it's left, Right. As soon as that right foot hits, he's up. So that's how you have to practice coming off the screens. Another screen, Steph Curry, here he is, and he's walking his defender down, right? So walks him down, and then he pushes him. He's faking a little bit as if he's going to come this way, but in reality, he knows he wants to get out here, right? So then once he's relaxed and he fakes him down the other way, he sprints off, all right? Catches, fires. But look, this is the read, right? And these are basically like the two basic reads that you need. Like everything else will start to come into play once you can recognize these in every scenario. So the defender, here he is. He tries to cheat and go under, right? But Steph Curry recognizes that. And so last time he curled, they're coming out this way. And that's dangerous when someone's trying to go over because then they'll just meet you in this area. So when they go over, he stops short and he catches it as far away from the defender as he can. So now he's getting into a shot here and the defender's all the way away because he tried to go under and got caught, right? Now let's look at how he gets ready for that shot. And so when he comes off, he plants on his outside foot, right, or the foot closest to the ball, and then hops. So it's right foot plant, and then it's 2 foot hop, and he's immediately ready. The ball is literally up in the air, like as his feet hit. And so moving the ball a bit early will help you get it off too, because you can move it once you're basically into your shot. Like you don't have to be 100% set to start moving the ball up if you can do everything fluid enough. So it's there. As soon as his feet touch and get set, he's going up. So you got to get used to the footwork and the speed of like 2 steps. It's either 1-2 or it's 1 foot hop, right? So this one's 1 hop. Like that's the footwork you need. And notice his legs are bent and he's in his shot motion immediately. Go straight up, no wasted motion, no wasted time at all. And so in this scenario, like here's Steph up here. Here's his defender. He's trying to cheat under, right? Because he got caught, so it's going to be hard to get behind him. And so he's like, damn, I got to try to beat him around, right? But that's just too much separation. You're not going to get there, right? Because Bo gets a really good screen setter, so he scoots out and tries to catch him out here, but even then still doesn't touch him. But now look at the distance. Steph's over here. Conley's over here. The pass is already gone. The ball is right here. It's already gone, right? And so Steph catches it, and look at his readiness, right? He's already trying to get into his shot, like right when he's catching it. So then he just brings the ball in a shot pocket. You can't see Zach Randolph's in the way, but he just gets it off quick. Now here's a scenario where they switch the down screen, right? And it's the same concept. You can still stop underneath because on switches, right? Here's Steph right here. Here's the switcher. So they go here, and it's pretty much, it acts as if the defender went under because that's the side that the switching person is going to come out of. Because more times than not, some people overrun the screen and then they come out here, and then the switcher can just guard him. So now it's just offense, defense right there. But Draymond sees it, passes it early, and as you receive that screen and you recognize the switch, just stop right between both of them. So it's 1-2, and look where Steph stops, right between both of them, right? Because now Eric Gordon switched on to Klay Thompson. Here's the person that's supposed to guard the screen. Too much separation, and notice his readiness. Like it's all about readiness off the screen once you read it. And so his left foot is already planted, and he just touched the ball, like. Right? And so all he does, he brings his right foot in, and it's money. So watch, I'll slow it down. Look. And on this one, he hopped. But look how ready he is and how fast he gets it off. He plants on this outside foot on the catch, hops into it. Right? So it's immediate. It's outside foot hits, and then he hops into his catch. Right into it. No wasted motion. And you got to get used to doing that over and over and just practicing that habit of just 1 foot plant on the catch right into your hop. And you're going to be able to get these shots off 10 times faster than you do right now. So now this is a scenario where the person that switches onto you cheats the screen, right? They're too overcommitted to the first action. So here's Steph up here, top corner. Here's his first screener, right? And so this is like a double away situation. So he receives this one. And Corey Brewer tries to cut him off early, right? And so if they overplay, you can backdoor into some space. That's what Steph does right there, right? So you got to recognize when someone's cheating the screen and make sure you just can cut into some space and backdoor. You don't always have to come off the screen. You just got to read the person that's next to you. And then once they switch, you read the person that's switching also. And so let's say he was the passer, like Steph would have stopped short and then he would have just thrown it like the last one, right? But since it's a double away, the second guy that's switching cheats, this guy's off into space just to give them room to operate. And then, bam, just backdoors him. Corey Brewer's trying to fight over this way because he doesn't want him to come off for a shot. And so he's trying to jam that up, making sure he can't use the screen. But then he just got caught. Easy bucket. You don't always have to pop out to the 3 when you're getting a screen also, especially on the trail. So if you go back right here, right? He gets trailed. Here he is right here receiving a screen from David Lee. And even though he usually comes off sometimes and just catches and right on the 3-point line and squares up and shoots it, like it's really good to go in a lot of times, right? So you can go in here, catch it on the mid-range, and then get closer to the basket for an easier shot. And sometimes you can even just go in for a layup after you curl right here. And so don't always think that just because you get a screen and you curled, like more times than not, you actually should go in when someone's trailing you, unless you are really good at catching and shooting, like on a quick square up. But just know that there's more than one option. So here's Steph down here, bottom right corner, and he's about to get this screen from Clay. And he notices the trail, right? So here's the trail, and instead of coming out on the trail like he has done a couple times before, he curls in immediately for the layup. So if you watch, there it is, right? And the person that's guarding the screener doesn't help out, right? And so this guy's behind, Steph Curry's in front. Just easy curl to the basket right there. Now let's get into cutting, all right? Now this one's a back door, and this one's fairly simple, right? Like Steph's hanging out right here, and he pretends as if he's about to come get the handoff, right? Just a slight jab to the right, and it makes the defender jump up. So he's hanging out, bam. That little jab right there made the defender jump up, easy backdoor, right? And so for the backdoor, like you always got to give like a tiny fake, or you can just suddenly move if you're standing still. Like that works a lot too. So right here, it's just a slight fake. Defender comes up, and then he goes straight line. And so some people, like when they mess it up, they'll go out too far or something. Like you just want to take it straight back, especially if it's from the top of the key or like top of the key area. And notice on the catch on this back door too, right? He catches it on a jump stop so he can adjust. So lands, and instead of just going straight up towards the defender, he avoids it. But it's because he jumps off 2 feet. And so when you're getting the backdoor pass, try to float a little bit into the catch so you can adjust after you land. So right when he lands, easy adjustment. Here's a perfect time to cut when you're receiving a screen, and it's always when the defender is cheating over the top, right? So notice, here he is over here being guarded. So he's being guarded normal from the inside. Now, once the screen starts to happen, the defender gets on the top side and tries to like top lock him so he can't use it. So that's a perfect opportunity to backdoor when they don't let you use the screen and they're up too high. And so he just cuts in front of him right here, straight to the middle of the lane. There's no backside help because Iman Shumpert doesn't leave. And it should be a layup every time. And sometimes the best way to get open is to actually go and set a screen. So here's Steph right here. He goes to set this down screen, right? There he is, setting the down screen, back doors. This is how you know when to do it, right? So right when he sets this screen, if you notice a switch, that's normally when. So he points, and Steph notices that his defender doesn't follow him down to the screen. So that's the signal to cut behind him. Because that's like, imagine you're just jogging down the court and the defender just stops. Like, ideally, you just want to cut right behind him. So that's what he does right here. He recognizes the guy he's screening is not looking at him. His guy's up too high because he's trying to anticipate the switch till he can pick up Clay coming off. And then there's just this open gap right here because there's no help coming from that side. Right? Easy. Here it is, exact same concept. Steph Curry goes to set that down screen. Easy backdoor. Look at it. Here he is. He's going to set it. His defender does not stay low, right? He gets on the top side. Once your defender gets on the top side and you're setting the screen, it's just automatic. He doesn't even touch anybody. He just knows, all right, I'm past my defender. I don't even got to go down anymore. Just backdoor. Didn't even touch anybody. Easy layup, especially if your teammates are paying attention. And I know some of these might be difficult because you're like, oh, my teammate can't pass. They don't know. Talk to your teammates and tell them, like, yo, I'm going to do this. If they switch, I'm going to cut. I'm going to be open. Like, you guys got to help each other out. Don't just blame your teammates and say, oh, my teammate's smart. Like, teach each other, help each other. Be like, yo, this is open. Like, the same shit. I used to do that with my teammates. I'm like, yo, when you cut, keep cutting because your defender is not going to help once you cut through. So I'm going to drive past my guy and I'm going to be right behind you. So get out of the way. Sure enough, next play, he fucking cut. His defender followed him. I was right behind him, got a layup. Talking to each other will help you execute a lot of these things. Don't be discouraged because, oh, my teammate's not going to pass or they're not looking, whatever. Like, talk. It's easy. When you try to help your teammates out and help them get open, you can figure out ways to get out open out of that. And so don't think just because, oh, I don't want to set screens. I don't want to, like, figure out how to hack the game. Like, set a screen and then be like, okay, where can I pop into space? Right? And so on a back screen right here, if they ever switch a back screen and you're the one that's setting it, you got to just pop open. So right here, they switch it, right? This guy's on it. Now this guy's on his top side. This is the switch, right? So these two are occupied. Wiggins is on the wrong side. So Steph just opens up to the inside right there. Easy shot. So setting screens does not always mean you won't get the ball. So don't be upset if your coach is like, oh, set screens and do all this stuff. And you're like, I want the ball. Like, this is a great way to get the ball, I promise you. One thing to know, when you're cutting and you know you're going to be open, you have to have patience. You don't always have to sprint into it. You just want to get a small speed burst once your teammate sees you. And because it's useless to get open when your teammate doesn't see you, right? And so if you look right here, here's Steph on this side with no ball right here. There he is. Now Steph knows, he's like, okay, I could sprint right here, but he's being patient. He's watching Draymond to make sure that they see each other. And then once they see each other, he's just going to take that spot. Because he doesn't want to give it away to the person that's guarding him. Because if he sprints too fast, right, like let's say he sprints too fast and his teammate or the guy that's guarding him just like, oh shit, he's open for a cut. I'm about to cut this off. Like, then he just gave away his position, right? But now look, it's hard to tell, right? But Draymond's looking this way now and Steph Curry's looking. So they made the eye contact. Now they know that this is what the play is going to be. And this guy is getting his defender out of the way just by being close to the ball. So he can't sag on a fin to help too much, right? So then Steph hits his speed burst. And then there's the pocket that he's open, just right in front of the defender. And so when you know you have an opportunity to get open, make sure the passer can see you. And then take the opportunity. Don't take it without knowing whether or not you're going to get the ball. When you're off the ball and your defender's pressuring you, like, give them a couple fakes. Like, act like you're going to pop out and things like that. Just be deceptive. So Steph's right here being guarded by Kyrie. Right, there they are. And notice, like, there's a screen happening and the defender's like antsy. He's like, I can't let him come off screens. He's a really good shooter. And so he just fakes him super quick and then gives him a back door. So look how hard he bit for that, because Steph was going to be open if he would have popped out. Like, he's too good at that, right, as you could see in the previous section. But now, like, they caught on to he's coming off screen, so now he's just going to set him up a couple times, and then he's going to end up with a back door, right? So now you see how you can play off both of these. Once you get good at coming off screens, then it's like, okay, they know I'm going to come on with a screen. Now I'm going to set him up and hit him with the back door. Now you have both options available, and then it's easier to get open that way if you know how to do both. So now I want to talk about spot ups and just being in the right place so you can be seen and get the ball, especially around the perimeter. And I think Klay does a really good job of that. Here's Klay, and he's kind of just watching the action. And so then he'll know where to be based on like what's happening, right? And so as this drive's happening, he gets to a place to where he can be seen. And so he's like, okay, Kevin Durant's going to this baseline right here. I'm going to get over to the corner so then he can see me and kick it out for a wide open shot. Because most times defenders think that people will spot up right here, down here, which can work. But I think Klay just knew he was getting a screen from Jordan Bell. And so he's like, okay, let me get into a place and get ready. Like, being ready is the most important thing. And then just finding a place where your teammate can actually see you. So if you want to get the ball, and like even if you're not one of the main ball handlers, like they got Steph and KD on the floor, you can still put yourself in position to get it just by knowing what's going on. So Klay right here, he's watching all this action. He's like, okay, Kevin Durant's getting this pop right here. He catches it. He's like, let me get somewhere where I can be seen. That's the most important part, number one. Like, get somewhere where you can be seen and want the ball. So he's like, here's a big gap right here. there's help. Either he's going to score there or he's going to look somewhere else. And more times than not, he's not going to skip it over two people, right? The other one, he skipped it over one person. And so down here is a way better area because there's no one over there. So Clay floats up to the top. There he is, wide open. It's catch and shoot ready. Immediately, as soon as he touches it, ready. And fires it up. So this is a perfect example of even when you make a play and like you kick it out, get ready again, right? So Clay does that, and then he just pops out right here, shoots it. And so if you look at the initial action, like he got the pick, okay, he's going in, bam, makes his kick right here. But instead of just waiting to see what happens, he's like, okay, I made a play. Now let me get out somewhere where I can be seen again and make a play. So he runs out and just spaces, and he could have stayed under the basket probably, right? But he's at least moving around, trying to like relocate. And that's the most important thing. Like after you give up the ball, don't just stand there and watch and hope for a miracle. Like move around and you'll probably get the ball again, especially if you know how to find open space by just looking around. Even on this play, you don't necessarily have to run around like and move fast. Even if you're kind of standing a little bit, you got to at least start going towards the open area. So if you saw Clay right there, he's just hanging out, right? He's over here just floating around. He's like, okay, Katie's in a bit of trouble. Like, let me get somewhere, which in my opinion, like, should have cut to the middle of the lane. One of these two should have cut to the middle of the lane. Like, I hate when someone gets trapped and no one's there to help him because it's like covered, and then Katie like got himself out of a double team. But he should have been there, but even though he's not, he's at least like in the line of sight. He's not hiding behind like this dude down here, like hiding behind your defender. Help your teammate out by being in the right spot so they can see you. And I promise you'll get a lot more shots off. And then he just gets ready quick, gets it up. Another good example of perfect spacing. Like, and I want to make a video about spacing because I think NBA players and NBA teams, like 9 times out of 10, they have such perfect spacing and they're usually not in each other's way that it's kind of taken for granted. Because if you look at a high school level or sometimes a college level, like it looks very congested at times and like people just aren't in the right spot a lot of times. But the NBA, I swear to you, they always have perfect spacing. Like I'll talk about it a little bit right here and how it can get you the ball. But when a action is happening, like what I always say is stay away from the action. So there's a pick and roll up here, and he's not going towards it, trying to get in the way. KD's out of the way. Clay's out of the way. They're just letting the action happen. So I always say just stay away from the action for number one, especially if you want the ball. And then as that's happening, like he passes it to the roller. KD's already down here, so he's like, okay, I'm going to get away from KD, but I'm also not going to be in the way of the action and the roller right here. So this is the spot that's like kind of perfect for him, right? Because then this pass happens, and now look, he's wide open based on rotations. And that's what spacing is for, is when actions happen and the defense has to help, the spacing is going to like help your offense figure out where the ball needs to go. So if everybody's spaced correctly, like that first pass was perfect, they helped over. Second pass was perfect, he's wide open, right? And then you got even better spacing over here. So imagine like T somehow helps super hard on Clay. And then guess what? Steph's going to move up, perfect spacing, he's going to be open. So no matter what happens in a rotation, if you know how to space correctly, 9 times out of 10, the ball will find you. I want to talk about like the attitude of Clay, right? Because a lot of people get demoralized and they're mad when they don't get a kick out, right? And so if you watch it, here's Clay right here. And as he goes through, like right here, he wants this kick out. Like his hands are like, yo, like throw me the rock, right? But then he points, he's like, okay, never mind, I'm covered by the help, like kick it out over here. And so I think a lot of people, what happens is when they don't get the first kick out, they're just like, oh man, he ain't passing me the ball, this, that. But instead, like Clay stays ready because he's like, okay, Draymond could shoot this. He's wide open, but he's like, all right, I'm about to swing it. And like KD could shoot this swing, but he's still ready regardless. Like he doesn't feel at any moment that he's not going to get the ball. And I feel like a lot of players think that just because they don't get the initial kick out or the first look that they're just like, oh man, I ain't going to get the ball. And then they're not ready when it's supposed to be swung to them. So never feel like just because you're not getting the first or second pass or whatever that it's not going to come to you. Because this is 1, 2, 3, third pass that it comes to Clay and he's ready for it just based on the fact that like he's not pissed that he didn't get the kick out when he first raised his hand. So like that's an attitude thing, and the energy is going to bring you the ball if you have the right attitude. Now this is a perfect example of like not forcing it, right? A lot of players, I promise you, even at the college level, they want to just force the ball and try to get buckets like when nothing's there for them. So in this scenario, like a lot of players would have shot that step back or like over dribbled it, but he gets in there, he's like, okay, I didn't get this look, let me give it up. And he comes off the handoff, doesn't get the ball. Like he's not forcing it. Even when he comes off this screen, he's like, okay, nothing, let me swing it. But then he relocates himself. Like just because he doesn't have the ball doesn't mean that he's not going to be able to get a shot off, right? And so he's doing this without force. And so that's one of the most important things when you actually want to get the ball and move around and like, put yourself in situations to score. Like not forcing is going to get you buckets. I promise you. That doesn't mean not being aggressive, but because forcing and being aggressive are two different things. And I think, you got to make a distinction between which is which if you want to be like successful and productive. So right here, like he's aggressive. That's an aggressive shot. Like he didn't have to shoot that, but he felt he was open. I'm going to shoot it, but he didn't force. He just waited. All this action happened. He got the ball twice, swung it. It's like, okay, I'm going to be patient. Relocates himself to the top of the key, finds himself an opportunity, all without force. Now, this is a perfect example of patience, right? Here's Clay, top of the screen, and just watch how patient he is. Like he's not running around crazy trying to get the ball, like getting in the way of the action, like standing at the top of the key, floating around, like pass it to me. He's patient, right? At first, he's trying to set a screen for McCaw down here. He's like, yo, screen. And they're like, nah, pop out, get it. So he's like, all right, I'm just going to stay in the flow. Let me pop out, get this. I'll use the screen. I got nothing. Let me give it up. All right, let me see if I can get a back door. Nothing. And even though he didn't get this back door, he still is moving to the perfect spacing, right? He pops out towards the corner. Now he's got the space and he's wide open. Pump fakes the defender. Bam. All because he's patient. So you have to be patient if you want the ball. Promise you it's going to work. And it sounds counterproductive because people mistake patience for passiveness, and that's not what it is at all. It's just like knowing the situation that you're in and finding an opportunity that, presents itself when it's there. Like that, the patience will show you the opportunity. But if you're impatient, you'll never see the opportunity that's on the way for you. That's the thing. Now, one of the biggest assets as a player is pop-out shooting. Like, you should be able to pop out at any given point and just get a shot off when the space is there. Like, that's super crucial, especially for high-level scorers. Like, he just pops out right here. Nothing special, no screen, no crazy play, no crazy movement. Just straight pop out and shoot it. You got to be able to do that if you want to score at a high level. Same thing when they're just swinging it around. Like the ball gets swung to you and you feel like you're a really good shooter, you should be able to knock that down. Like there's nothing crazy that happened here. There's no crazy screen. He's super contested, but still like he's like, okay, I can make contested shots. Like this is nothing, right? And just raises up and shoots it. And like obviously everybody's not 7 foot. I hate when people say that, but still it's applicable. Like Steph does the same thing. He's fucking 6'3", right? And so just your ability to pop out and shoot it, and then just to, when they swing it around, to shoot it. Like those two things are super crucial. And here's like another version of that by KD, right? He's just running down court. If you look, here he is, top of the screen. And he's just floating around, like tried to set a back screen, and the ball just finds him. And like if the ball finds you randomly, look, he caught it, and he immediately looks towards the rim to see. So if you look early, right when you catch it, and you recognize opportunity to shoot it, like just take that shit. Especially if you're good. Just square up and fire at any moment. It doesn't have to be a design play. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just got to have confidence and like really put the work in so that at any moment, if you feel like the defense made a mistake and they just left you, you're like, all right, I'm going to shoot this. Like that's pretty much what this was. It was just like, all right, I'm open, about to fire this up. Like that's what high level shooters and scorers do. Here's an opportunity to attack off the ball. So off the ball doesn't always mean like just shooting jump shots or cutting alone. Like you can catch it and make a quick rip through and making a move to score. And like that's equally as good as being able to recognize when you're open to shoot it. Because last time KD caught it, like he probably wasn't even expecting this, but he saw the ball coming. He got ready super quick. Like look at the speed at which he got ready, right? He's sitting here setting the screen. He's just looking around. Ball has left Draymond's hands. And like it's halfway through the air. KD's not ready, right? The ball, if you can see it, the ball is right here. Right, KD's not ready. And so within a split second, ready, right? You got to be able to do that quick and not just catch it frivolously, like always catch it with a purpose, right? And then he recognizes the closeout And then as soon as the closeout happens, quick rip through, one dribble, straight to the bucket. And so that's a huge asset that you need to add to your game, is just even when you don't expect the ball, like if it's coming to you, how fast can you get ready? And then how fast can you make a read on a closeout, right? Like playing efficiently is the best way to play basketball. Everybody thinks it's dribble this, dribble that. Like, I got to get the ball. Let me break my defender down. It's like, nah, like every time I get the ball, I'm going to be efficient with it. And I'm going to make a good read and a quick read if I can, and just make the game super easy and without stopping the flow of the team and the offense and all that kind of stuff. Because a lot of coaches aren't going to let you just get the rock, even though this is KD, right? Like any coach in the world would let him just get the rock and do whatever, right? But even in that situation, he's like, nah, I'm not going to play like that. I'm still going to play how I need to play. And so if he can do that type of stuff, like you should be able to do that type of stuff, no problem. Here's another quick one, like I was saying before, with this, they're swinging it around and you shoot it. Like if you look at KD, bottom of the right screen, right? Like they're just swinging it. No, he's just chilling. Like catch it, shot it. Like he didn't even. There was no play, no nothing. They just got swung to him, and he's like, "I'm shooting this." So like that's an essential part of being great off the ball too, because that's an efficient play as well. Like if the teams don't have to run offense for you, if you don't got to do all this cutting, coming off a down screen, like moving around, if you can just like chill out, they swing it to you, bam, you knock those down. Like I'm telling you, you could play anywhere with that. In plays like this counts as off-ball basketball to me, right? Even though you make a move, like I showed the last time, he did that from the top of the key. But this is a scenario where he's like super ready, right? He's like, all right, let me get the rock, gets it, and just recognizes that he has a lane right here where he could just drive in because the defender's on his left side. So like that counts as off the ball, like on the catch, spot up type basketball. Like being a spot up player doesn't mean spot up and shoot player. Like you're just finding the right spots to be. The ball hits you and you're making an efficient, quick decision. Like the best scorers in the world are doing this more times than gets talked about, but it's how they play. Like they know how to do this all day. If Kevin Durant's job was to just be Kyle Korver, he would be better at that than Kyle Korver is. You know what I'm saying? And so those things get taken for granted when high level scorers do it, because they do so many other things well, but they don't talk about the simplicity of like just moving around off the ball, catching it, making quick plays, making quick shots. Like people get paid just to do that, and they do that equally as well as those people, on top of isolation scoring and rebounding and making plays and drawing double teams and things like that. There's two different things, right? There's always going against momentum, and then there's going to an open side. And so sometimes in one play, there could be two right decisions. And so nothing's like guaranteed to where you have to do this specific thing. More times than not, you have options, right? And so KD right here decided to go against momentum. And so right here, the momentum's coming from his left side. So he spots up as if he's about to shoot it. And he doesn't give it away that he's going to attack, because he actually might shoot this, right? And so right when he gets set, he notices the closeout. Bam, and he's already attacking that, going this way, right? So get set into your shot on spot ups and then read the momentum, because once you look set like you're going to shoot it, then they're going to close out a bit harder, and you'll know like, okay, I'm going to attack his momentum because he's closing out super fast. And so he gets overcommitted to it. Here's the dribble right there into some space and just goes calmly into a pull up, right? And when you go into the middle, like you got to be able to slow yourself down on the second dribble. Like I teach this all the time. Like this kick out hits, and then you attack hard on the first dribble, but then that second dribble, when you're in space, like you're in the space that you need to be to get a shot off, you got to be able to shorten your steps and slow yourself down and get, shot ready and make those without overdriving into help and, getting stuck or getting a charge or whatever. Just calming yourself down after a very aggressive first dribble. Like practicing that is super important. I think I figured out one of Kevin Durant's tricks too. I think he never looks as if he's ready for the ball, but he gets ready super fast. So like mentally he's ready for it, but his body positioning doesn't look like he's ready all the time. So watch it, like right here, it just literally looks like he's standing. But I've noticed every time the ball comes to him, he can get ready in like 0.1 second, right? And so right there, like even right here, he does not look ready, right? Like, and the ball's like right in the air now. He's like, oh shit, all right, let me get ready. And then snipes it. Right, so he's really good at looking as if he's not ready for anything, but mentally being prepared to just get ready as soon as the ball like leaves. And so right when Draymond makes eye contact, like that's when the readiness happens. Right? So Draymond turns his head and KD sees it and he's like, "All right, ball's coming. I'm ready." Now here's another efficient attack on a pop out, right? And so you can use like rip throughs. I like to use rip throughs when I'm getting pressured often, right? So top of the screen, KD pops out, bam, catches it, and he notices there's a lot of pressure, so he rips through high, brings the ball over, and then he takes a straight line drive for it, right? So if someone's pressuring you and you catch it, like try to read it as quick as you can and rip through. You can rip through low or high just depending on scenario, but they were pretty hugged up in this situation. So I like the high rip through because there's no space to really rip through low. So he catches it on the outside of his frame right here. Never catch it in the middle, especially against pressure. And then he goes straight from there over the top. And now he's taking a direct line drive, right? So that's just technique on how to catch. Bam, catches it on the outside because of the pressure. Realizes he can take a step right past him on the high rip through. He's gone, right? And that's against momentum again because the momentum's coming from this side over here. And so he goes towards the momentum off the catch, catches it. Momentum's coming through. Quick rip through. No square up. And here's another technique when you jump towards the ball to create a little momentum from your defender and then rip through the opposite way. Like this works really well. In this one, it was kind of like it didn't work perfect, obviously. Like he didn't totally get him on the move, but it's just a good technique to have. Right here, he's like shuffling out, and it's always in the feet, right? So watch this little shuffle he does. He jogs him down, shuffle, shuffle, catches it, and then rips through low against the momentum, against Giannis's top foot, right? And then tries to fight for a straight line. So right here, noticing a top lock, right? Or somebody's playing you on the top side. They call it top lock in the NBA. But here's KD and here's his defender. And I always say that, like, just if this is ever happens, just literally throw it over the top. Like, I don't care. That's what should be done. And so Westbrook recognizes it. And so does KD. So he, like, creates some contact with his defender. And then he just waits for the pass. So as the ball's in the air, then he takes a slight push off and catches it over the top. Like, that's just 101 basketball. Like, don't use the screen if they're cheating on that wrong side. Literally throw it over the top. Should be an easy bucket, especially if the pass checker can recognize. So here's a perfect scenario, like off the ball when you're getting a down screen, right, is noticing that the defender's like a step too high. And so instead of taking it, he fakes against it. That's his jab. And then quick back door, easy bucket. Here's KD right here. And he fakes the pop out, right? So he floats and then jabs, right? And I'd like to like float in the air. So if you notice his movement, like floating back and forth, that's the perfect way to set up a cut. So notice floats and then quick step right there, immediate back door. Like that's a perfect way to set them up when you float, because then they don't know that you're actually not going to get the ball. Like you could just be floating to set up a handoff and then you just jab and go back door. Another subtle thing you can do, and I think a lot of players got to understand, like being smart is better than running the play. And so if there's an opportunity to just be smart and do the perfect thing that needs to be done, do that rather than running the offense itself, right? So KD down here is supposed to get this screen, but he notices that he ends up on the inside. So if you're on the inside of your defender, you're open, especially if you're right by the basket. Like that's the rule, right? And so passer, you got to recognize this as well. Like it's so important to have two people on the same page. And so he sees it. And so he plays the inside. Here comes the pass. And now he just holds him off. Catches it right there. And so it's basically like a slow backdoor cut if you could just walk him down and figure out your positioning. Like positioning matters more than anything. And on these last two possessions by Kevin Durant, like it's just straight quick decisions, man. Like how fast can you make a decision when you touch the ball? That's going to be the difference maker. Like even right here in this one, quick catch, rip through. He's gone, right? So you can still do moves, but are your moves efficient and valuable to the thing that you're trying to accomplish? Like a lot of people just do frivolous action, but he's doing all this stuff is with a purpose, man. Just catches it, squares up and faces his defender, makes a quick rip through. And this might not even like, and sometimes you do something just to see how the defender's going to react. So even if he jabs and this doesn't work and he cuts off the drive, like he has a quick counter for that. You know what I mean? But just make something happen up front. Force the defense to actually guard and then make your reads out of that. So that's what he does, like quick catch, rip through, doesn't get cut off. So he's like, all right, I'm just going to keep going, right? And so your brain has to work super fast. So then you can in turn play faster and efficient and be more effective. I think a lot of players get too into reading immediately. Like you got to just make the best read that you can in the moment that's available, and then have your brain work fast enough to be able to make a second read, right? And so KD goes into this like he's not reading, okay, pump fake, dribble, jump, like jump shot, right? That's not his entire read. His first read is just reading the closeout, and he's like, okay, he's coming in from the left a little bit. Like I'm just going to attack his momentum and then see. So after this, then he's reading like the situation behind it, because on this first dribble, he knows he beat his defender. So now he's looking back here like, okay, it looks kind of congested. I'm probably going to go into a dribble pull-up. And so that's why he shortens his steps right here and just gets into his shot-ready position and then gets the shot off, right? And so don't be so obsessed about like having to win on the first read. Be able to counter after you make your first read. So first read there, second read is jump shot. Like it's always first and second read. So get used to that, but make a quick, decisive decision based on what you see and then learn from it. So like even if you make a bad decision up front, like, oh, okay, I shouldn't have ripped through and went that way. And the more decisive you can be off situations like this, you'll just get better at recognizing, right? And so just make it your intent to decide faster, and then you'll start to pick up the pieces like how to decide faster, what's the perfect read, right? And so he might do this and it might not work, and he's like, okay, I'll learn from that. Now I can kind of read their positioning better. Now I know the next read to do, but I'm still going to keep my decision making fast, and then you just get better at recognizing what decision you need to make at that speed. And so right here, another lightning fast decision, but he decides so fast all the time he can recognize now, right? So he recognized that Iggy had a bad closeout on his right side, so it's just quick rip through to the left, right? He's not catching and waiting and like doing all this other shit trying to create an ISO. Like he's just bam, recognizes the opportunity, goes in, sees that he can get past whoever's down the rim. And so he's that mechanism in your mind where you're reading, like never turn that off, because this is first read. He's getting into the lane, and at this point he's making his second read. And so like let's say there's like Andrew Bogut, for example, is standing right here. He's probably not going to keep going at him. He's probably going to stop right here for a pull-up jump shot, right? And so after he reads his initial defender, his next focus is reading the situation behind them, right? And it's simultaneous. Like once you get really good, you can do both at the same time, kind of look behind and read like as it's all happening. But quick decision, he sees, okay, it's just Harrison Barnes down there. I'm about to finish him. And I think a lot of people overthink a zone, and there's not a lot of zone in the NBA in general, but I'll actually do a whole video on that at some point. But it's all just about finding the gaps. Like if you just look around, there's gaps everywhere. There's a massive gap in the middle. Looks like a 2-3 zone. There's a gap back here. Like Bynum's kind of taking up that space just in case he wants to throw it over. And so like zones really aren't that difficult when you're off the ball. It's just like find the space. Like he gets in the space right here. He doesn't get it, but they swing it up top and he stays in space. So like it's a gap right here and he just catches. And when you catch it, look early. So he looks long before he squares up. Ball's right here. His feet aren't even turned yet. And so he can kind of see what he's getting himself into. And then he notices like no one's really that close, so he just pulls the trigger. Now, one of the most important shots when you're off the ball is a one dribble pull up by far, because once you get really good at catching and shooting, like most people shoot this, and defense starts flying out as soon as you flinch. So when you get in this position, your ready position, barely even moves the ball, defense is flying out there. And then you could just walk into a bunch of these. And so like the catch and shoot sets up the rest of your game, especially from the perimeter. So I think becoming a really good catch and shooter is like so important, because then you can start using your pump fake and just get simple stuff. So people don't have to set a screen for you on purpose in order for you to use them, right? And so if you look at Kobe, I'll show you exactly what I mean. Here's Kobe right here. And Bynum's just chilling. And so whether Bynum's setting a screen or not, Kobe's going to use him as if he is a screen. And so look, just runs off as if he got this screen right here. And Jason Richardson stuck behind him. and now he's just open into space. And the benefit of this is that the person guarding Bynum doesn't realize that this is happening because Bynum doesn't turn around and like make it seem like he's setting a screen, right? And so Kobe just walks in there. Now he's just wide open because Jason Richardson got stuck. And then he turns around away from the defense. So when someone sets you a screen, look for opportunities to cut if you don't get the initial action, right? And so here's Kobe right here about to get a screen from Lamar Odom. And as he runs off, like he flares because Ray Allen went under, right? But then Ray Allen didn't get completely stuck. So now if you look at it, Ray Allen now has to go over, right? Because initially he tried to go under. Now he's going over. And then that's Kobe's like signal to cut right there. Because now there's open space and there's no one to jam him up. And so he cuts right in front of Ray Allen. And now he's in space, catches the ball and shoots it. Here's something you can do as a screener, right? It's just slipping, but he made it like he didn't even really get that close to set the screen. He just kind of felt his defender, right? So Kobe's over here getting guarded by Grant Hill. And he's going to set it, but at the same time, he feels Grant Hill going on the top side, right? Like getting ready to hedge. And so he doesn't even get close. He just opens up into space right here patiently. He doesn't sprint or anything. He just sits in a spot to where Derek Fisher can throw him the ball, catches it, and he's aware, and now he can just finish. Now, this has been a basic principle that I've talked about like a few times in this video, I feel like. But it's really just realizing that if the person guarding you is on the outside of the lane, like if you have inside position, it's always open up to the basket no matter where you at. So like this is even out of bounds play. Kobe's right here, his defender's right here on the outside. He has inside position. Just literally open up into the lane, and more times than not you'll get found. So here's what to do if your defender digs, right? And so if you look, Kobe gets the ball right here on a cut, and I'll show you exactly. Like when I go back right here, here's Kobe, here's his defender, right? And his defender digs. Like all that means is they're just kind of like feinting or faking at the person with the ball and like getting in the way so they can't drive and attack right here. When that happens, you want to move away from where they're digging at. And so if they're digging like towards the ball this way, you want to move opposite and float into some space, right? If you don't get this pass right here, because sometimes people can float it over the top and then you can catch and shoot like on the far wing. But if that doesn't happen, you can backdoor them because they're in bad positioning. Like they're not in good enough position to stop you. And so now like you get two opportunities to get the ball, right? And initially it could come from the person with it that gets stuck in this right here. Like he could float it over. Or on that back door, like he could wait for like a split second and then see it and then throw it to you on a back door, right? But it just happened to work out since the ball got passed into the post. So just know these type of positions that you're in and cut off of them. Here's another really good backdoor cut by Kobe. Like he's at the top of the screen right here. And what he's going to do, he's going to run over and try to get open so Gasol can get him the ball in like this lane, this passing lane right here. But Ray Allen overplays it, so he just goes right behind him, right? And so goes up, backdoor. And so if you casually like go towards the ball as if you're going to get it on a pop out, like just watch your defender and see how much they overcommit. And then suddenly just get them with the back door. Like, don't give it away that that's what you're going to do, but just drag them up there. And then once you see the opportunity, just literally cut right behind them. So here's another zone one, right? And Kobe's got the middle spot now. And all he's doing is he's like just sitting in space and he has his hands ready. But you got to realize when you're in the middle, you don't necessarily have to move fast. You just have to move when the opportunity's there, right? And so Lamar Odom catches the ball, and all Kobe does is just face it with his hands open and just creeps towards it. So he's not like frantic or sprinting towards the ball just because he's open. He's patient and just like walks in there, catches it right in space for an easy shot. And so be patient when you're open. Just gradually, stay in the space that you're open in, but make sure that the person with the ball can see you because eventually they're going to pass it if you're like really as open as you think you are. Now, when you're off the ball and you get a screen, there's situations where you can treat it like a pick and roll, right? And I recommend that like a lot of times, especially if you can curl in right away. So if you see, I know this one's like a little bit blurry, but you can see the personnel. Like Kobe's right here. He's getting this little down screen from Pau Gasol, but he curls because the person's trailing. So now in this situation, it literally looks like a pick and roll. Like right here, it looks like the Gasol set a screen and roll. So you can operate it the same. just read the big man and attack him if you want, or drag him out into space and pass it to the roller. Like, do whatever you need to do. Just know sometimes there is situations where it acts the same. So don't feel like you got to have the ball starting off like with a live dribble or something just to operate like a pick and roll. Like, it still works the exact same. So this is one of those possessions where they just stay out of each other's way. And like, I'm a big, believer in just staying away from the action. Like, that's my motto, because if you get in the way of the action that's happening, then for one, you can't get the ball, but then you mess up the offense also, right? And so watching this entire play, I'll break it down. Like, let's go through it slow-mo. I'll just show you the spacing, like, and how it's spaced so perfectly so you can kind of understand. And now that I'm a coach, I look at this stuff a little bit more than I used to. And I still did back then, but just I'm not as focused on it because I didn't have to manage it, to be quite honest. And so on the first pass, like you can see, look at the spacing, right? No one's like right next to each other. But what happens is, like, it's kind of a read. Like, they're just reading each other, right? So screens happening over here. Boris Diaw comes to an open spot. Tim Duncan's looking to set a little down screen. And the person with the ball is looking for the action. Like, he's not trying to ISO. He's looking to pass, right? And so Parker comes off a screen. Now let's look at the spacing again, right? Right when he catches it, Bellinelli, he gets out of the way, right? Tim Duncan's trying to post up. And then notice when the post up does not work, he doesn't just stay there. So he starts to get out of the way. The reason he's getting out of the way is because Tony Parker's going to attack mode, right? And then Boris Diaw sees that happening too as he came up, so he starts to back away. So watch. So he backs away, gets out of the way because Tony Parker is dribbling. And if he doesn't get this handoff, like, then he's just like, all right, let me get out the way since I'm not getting a handoff. Right? And so next person up, handoff right here from Danny Green, or for Danny Green. Bellinelli stays in the corner. Tim Duncan out of the way, opposite. Right? Handoff happens. Look at the spacing. He pops out to get open. Tim Duncan's patient. As the ball goes to Tim Duncan's side, that's when he decides, okay, let me go out of the way. Because look, a ball screen's about to happen. So when a ball screen's happening, and you're on their side, you got to either be in the corner or you got to just go across the court, get all the way out of the way. Like, there's no in between. So the ball screen happens, and then look at the spacing. He stays corner, he stays opposite. And this is what happens when you stay out of each other's way and you just, like, know where to be when certain things are happening. Like, it's just part of the programming for them. Now, one thing to know when you're off the ball and you're by the paint, when someone drives, you have to get out of the way and, like, don't stop them from driving, right? A lot of posts are unaware sometimes when that happens. And so if you see Tim Duncan right here, when he rolls, there he is. He's going to roll right here just in case he's going to get the ball. But then he notices, okay, Tony Parker's ripping through for the drive. Let me stop myself so then he can have that space, right? And then Kawhi Leonard's in the corner just in case Ray Allen helps over too hard and he needs an outlet. Right, and so these are just positions that you gotta be in. So right here, if you notice, here's our spacing right now, right? And so a ball screen's happening, and then people are out of the way. So he's just, Boris Diaw's posted up, right, as that ball screen's happen. So now Ginobili can choose. So he throws that pass, and Splitter gets out of the way. He doesn't just automatically cut down the lane just because the ball's down there, right? So that happens. Splitter stays up top. But then look, LeBron helps over. He cuts right behind him. And also here's Patty Mills right in the line of sight of the passer. Right? So then he has options just in case he doesn't go to finish. He possibly could drop that off, but then help the helper. Now it's too deep in the paint. Wide open right there. All right, so on this, let me go slow-mo for this right here. Right? Tim Duncan swings it, then cuts through. Boris Diaw's fell into the corner. Right, here's the pop-up. Notice when this little action happens, no one's in the way, right? Tony Parker catches it up top. Now they're just being patient. They're trying to see what's the next action that's going to happen. So the next action looking like pick and roll, right? When this pick and roll's happening, no one is in the way. But notice when the pick and roll goes away from you, you want to scoot up and lift, right? So here's Patty Mills. He lifts up because the screen and roll went the opposite way of him, right? So now that he catches the ball, now he's looking, all right, he does his attack. Nothing comes from it, but notice when he attacks, Tony Parker right here moves away. Since Tony Parker moves away, Danny Green scoots down just a couple steps, right, spacing. But then if I go back, when Patty Mills does that drive, right? Who takes his spot? Here comes Boris Diaw. So when the action's moving away from you, you want to lift up a little bit, right? So here it is. He's lifting up so he can get a pass. Tim Duncan's just waiting to see where he can find his opportunity to post. So the swing happens. Bam, here's the post up, right? Now when your teammate's posting up, you want to stay out of the way. Gets his defender out of the way, dumps it into the post. Now right when he throws it in the post, he doesn't just stand, right? He cuts through. All right, now when your teammate's going ISO, you got to stay out of the way. You don't want to bring your defender over. You want to wait to see who's going to help or overcommit or whatever. Or if he gets stuck, then there's different spots you want to go to, right? And so he ISOs and just gets a bucket. Everyone stayed out the way. So let's look at off-ball positioning on this play, right? And so screen's happening. Here's a down screen, right? And they treat it almost like a pick and roll. Bosch helps. And then technically Tim Duncan's the roller. So they pass it in. Bam. And now notice over here what was about to happen. Danny Green was about to cut through, right? So if Ginobili would have caught it up here, Danny Green's right here. He was getting ready to sprint through to the corner and get a screen from Tim Duncan. But he read the situation. So you always got to be aware of situation. All right, so Ginobili runs off. Look at the top of your screen. Look who's starting to sprint. Danny Green. But he sees Tim Duncan catches the ball. What's he do? He stops. Stays out the way. But also look at Boris Diaw. Right? And so when you're opposite post and they catch it on the low block, you want to be high or middle a little bit just in case your man helps. Because look right here, the help comes over. Now he's in the right position to where if Tim Duncan were to pass this ball to him, he could just walk in for a layup easily. So here's the same scenario, right? They run that play with the baseline runner coming off a down screen. Here it is. He throws it to the screener. And then look, remember when I said Boris Diaw is going to be in that spot? He throws it down. LeBron helps over. Look who's there. Boris Diaw. That's the exact same play. Now they actually made that pass. So last time Tim Duncan scored, but this time, he's in the right position. Boris is in the right position still and catches the ball. So just because you don't get the ball doesn't mean, stop getting yourself in position. Like you will get it eventually. Just keep doing what you're supposed to do and it'll work out. So the thing I love about this possession and this team in general is there's no meaningless movement. So I think a lot of people, when they say move the ball and move around and cut, they just do it frivolously with no actual purpose. So I'm going to show you how everything is purposeful in this specific play, right? So it's starting to get swung around and I'll slow-mo it. Now first action, right? Pick and roll. They stay out of the way. Now what's the rule if you're in the corner and the pick and roll is going away from you? You lift, right? So pick and roll happens. Boris Diaw goes down the lane. And then Kawhi Leonard up here, he lifts. But then if it's going towards you, you want to scoot down, right? And so he swings it over, pick and roll's happening, and then look where he goes, to the corner, because he knows that the action's happening, so he gets out of the way. Now he catches it, and what happens? All right, Tim Duncan opens up into space just in case he might get this pass, even though he doesn't. Now the drive happens. What do? Baseline drive towards the middle. You want a guy right here. So that's where Kawhi's standing. And then Ginobili's far enough out of the way to where he doesn't bring his defender in. So he gets in the lane. And then look, Boris Diaw's not in the way, but he's available just in case his man helps. Right? But then the kick out happens. He attacks. Ginobili stays out of the way. Right? Tim Duncan still out of the way. He's just aware and ready. He gets in the lane. Now look, two options. Boris Diaw's here. There's Tony Parker out of the way. Now, Ray Allen helps up. Boris Diaw is going to be open. Now, right there, Boris Diaw gets it. Now, Tim Duncan faces the ball because, all right, his man helped. Now, he's going to get the dump off. Easy dunk. So, I appreciate you getting all the way to the end. I hope this was really valuable. One of the best pieces of wisdom I've heard is, read really valuable books a lot of times so it sticks with you, or watch really valuable videos a lot of times. And that's how it really gets ingrained into who you are, as a person and a basketball player. So like with these skills, don't just watch this video once and be like, okay, I got it. Like watch it over and over and over because there's things you might have missed. But then it also it lets you, sink in that understanding of, okay, this is what I need to do off the ball, and you don't even have to think about it anymore. It's just part of who you are. You know, my motto is just make good basketball part of who you are. Don't turn it on and off. Don't go somewhere, play bad basketball, then you try to go to school and turn on the switch of good basketball. That's just making bad habits. So no matter where you're at, open gym, at the park, at school, at practice, whatever, in the game, like, make good basketball a part of who you are. And the way you can do that is by re-watching these videos over and over. But again, I appreciate you being part of the academy, and I'll see you on the next one.